Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. It seems that we're getting towards the end of the year, which also means getting towards the end of the convention scene. Usually the convention scene starts up in the spring and ends in the fall. Tomorrow I'm going to be going to the New York Con. I'm going to be there tomorrow and Saturday, and my wife is going to be coming with me on Saturday, so this will be the first time she attends a big con. Now, it's not the first time she's been at a con, but it's the first time she's going to a big con, which is one of the things I wanted to talk about today, talking about the first really big con that you attended. Those that watch my videos, you know that I've attended when I was younger. I never really attended a really big con. I attended cons, smaller cons, that were fairly local, either in my town or the town over, that were held in hotels or recreational centers or whatever. And hey, those are great. I think a lot of times people, they go to those cons and they get some of their best stuff. You can go to those cons and find maybe some stealth buys more easily than you can find at one of the bigger cons like the New York Con or the Boston Con and so forth and so on. Although you can find stealth buys there too, believe it or not. But those were my early experiences, and I got a bunch of great books. I categorized my collection, at least in my mind, over the years. I have the old school collection, which were a bunch of books that I purchased when I was just getting into the hobby. And then I came up with a few other categories to match the time of my life with when I bought the books. But those were some really, really good times to go out and buy books. But moving forward, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the bigger cons that I attended. Now, I didn't really first attend one of the bigger cons until 2014. So there was a 21-year difference, 21-year time frame before when I went my first con to a really big con. Just, those sort of things when I was younger just hadn't occurred to me. I heard of the bigger cons, but I never said, why would I go all the way out there when I could just go here and get the books I want? And I usually found the books that I wanted. If I wanted the first appearance of Sabretooth, I found it. If I wanted, I wanted back then the first appearance of the Silver Surfer, but I saw it many times. I didn't get it back then, but it was there. It was available. But as the years had passed by, I thought that maybe I would like to attend one of the bigger cons, and I did. And the very first big con I attended was in 2014, like I said, and it was the New York Con, New York Comic Con. And it was great. It really was an experience. For those that don't like to be in crowded places, for those that don't like to wait on lines, it's probably not the place for you. I've never been to the San Diego Comic Con. A friend of mine has. And from what and this was back, 15 years ago, 15, 16 years ago. And he told me even back then it was crazy. Would I like to go to the San Diego Comic Con? Probably not. I have no desire to fly out to San Diego to go to that con and deal with all the people and all the traffic. So you might say, well, why would you go to the New York Con? Well, it's easier for me because I live in New Jersey and I could simply just take the train up there, walk more than a few blocks, but take maybe a 15, 20-minute walk, and I'm at the Javits Center. No big deal. You got to wait on a couple of lines to get in, but you're in, and that's it. It's not much of a hassle. For the San Diego Con, I just don't really feel like flying out to California and having to rent a car or get a taxi or whatever it is and go to a con that's probably double what New York Comic Con is when it comes to crowds. So it's no big deal. However, I do have some good memories of going to some of the big cons and over the last couple of years. And most of them have been the New York Comic Con. It's far different than the early days Like when I was able to get, like the point I was making earlier, when I went to the local cons that were in hotels or motels or whatever they were called, recreational centers, and I was able to get something like this, which comes from the old school collection. My copy is probably like an 8.0, maybe an 8.5, but one day I'd like to upgrade it and get maybe a 9.4. But it's still, something that I was able to get way back when. And of course, probably the big one that I got from back then was this one. This is a high-grade copy of Amazing Spider-Man 129. This is going to be submitted I think I'm going to submit it tomorrow to CGC. So hopefully we will see what grade it comes back within the next month. But when I went to the first big con in 2014, this was one of the big ones I was looking for. I mean, I think it's a niche book. I don't think too many people are looking for Kamiko Primer #2. I had fond memories of Grendel when I first got into the hobby. So when I went to the New York Con, I said, this is definitely one of the books on my radar that I'd like to get. And I did. And, going to the big con for the first time and getting the books that I wanted, really helped elevate the experience of the con. I know the following year, which was my second big con, New York Comic Con 2015, and I got this book, which is a great book. It seemed like that con was a bit of a letdown. It just, the magic of that first time experience was gone. And, it seemed like that year, to me at least, everything was just so overpriced and it just didn't have that big book that I wanted. This was a decent sized book at that time because Black Panther had been announced and there was a lot of hype about him. But I'm glad I was able to get that book when I did. But when it comes to really big cons, the best one that I think I was at, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, the best one was the Heroes Con. It was too bad that I couldn't go to the Heroes Con this past year, in 2019. I would like to go in 2020, but we got to see what happens. Life happens. Life happens, and sometimes it makes things a little bit more difficult to do things. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I may be able to attend Heroes Con 2019. But that being said, my most memorable big con was probably Heroes Con 2018. New York Comic Con 2018 was good too. I liked it. But Heroes Con. And of course at Heroes Con, I got a couple nice books, but the one that I think about the most is that backroom deal I had with a particular somebody in which I purchased this one. The memories make it, right? But the rest of the con was great. It was fun hanging out with Patrick and running into a bunch of people that watch my videos or watch Patrick's videos or just whomever. It was really nice to run into some people that make videos and that do not make videos. And I think that was the most memorable. And it was also in a different locale, I was so used to going to the tri-state area of a bunch of cons. I could go to Pennsylvania and be there in 40 minutes. I could go north 50 minutes and be in New York City. So that was really the area in which I was used to going to cons. And of course in New Jersey, we have a bunch of cons here too, like the East Coast Con and the Garden State Con and a few others. But it was nice to actually leave New Jersey and then go south a few states to get to a really big con that was very much comic book centered rather than entertainment. I found that it was easier to find some books. It was easier to find some deals there. And it was a great time. I would hope to go back to that con. So on the eve of my next trip to the New York Con 2019, I'm hoping that I'm sure it will, that it'll be a fun and memorable experience. And I'm glad that on Saturday, my wife is going to be able to go with me. She's a little upset that Tom Hiddleston's not going to be there on Saturday. He's only going to be there tomorrow and Friday. But I'm sure she'll get over it. Well, in the comments, tell me what you think. Do you like the bigger cons? Do you find them the experience that comes with going to a bigger con, the more people, the more dealers, the location or what have you, to find that to be more fun than just the con that's happening across town in some sort of hotel, motel, recreational center. Let me know what you think. Comic Book Haul number 37 will come out hopefully. Well, it'll come out after Saturday. Take care, everyone.